Hello, my lovelies, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Janessa-Belle if you are new here, and if you're not new, hello, my babes. Hello, my angels. Welcome. Today's subject is going to be alchemy. Now, I won't get to cover everything. I won't even be able to cover half of alchemy because there's just so much that goes into it, but I will be able to give you a warm introduction into the history of alchemy and some of Carl Jung's perspective of the 4 stages of alchemy so that you too can find your own philosopher's stone, your immortality, and your elixir of life. The phrase turning lead into gold might sound familiar to you as it is the modern day way of saying turning nothing into something, usually used as a way of encouraging others to make something out of their life that seems to be nothing. But back in the day, they used this term quite literally. So we are going to be starting off in ancient Egypt as we dive into the history of alchemy. It is said that in ancient Egypt and Arabia, they were given the alchemical processes from Thoth, which is a god or deity of wisdom. He was a wisdom keeper, a wisdom seeker. He was the one to first create the emerald tablets, passing down knowledge through the tablets and through the words that were in the tablets, also creating mathematics, things like science, engineering, technology, and a whole bunch of other stuff, honestly. Eventually, this information of alchemy made its way down to Greece, which Greece was very, very prominent. This is where Hermetics, or the practice of Hermetica, was born and birthed. In 460 BCE, Greek philosophers emerged. One of the most credible and well-known that you've probably heard of is Hermes Trismegistus, or Hermes Thrice Great. Some saw him as connected to the Egyptian god that I was just referring to, Thoth. Greece also came up with a mathematical equation called the Pythagorean, I always say this wrong, so please excuse me, the Pythagorean theorem, which a lot of us learned actually in high school. There were also traces of alchemy in ancient China, which the Chinese people were more interested in finding the elixir to life, which I'm going to list different names because there are different names for this alchemical process and what you want to reach with this alchemical process. But one of them that the ancient Chinese were mostly invested in was finding their way to immortality, being able to find the elixir of life, being able to find the philosopher's stone to grant them their deepest desires, wishes, and immortality as they knew it. Then Europe was a whole nother thing within itself. I'm pretty sure it was the medieval times in Europe. They did not approve of the spreading of alchemy. I'm pretty sure they saw it more as a religion because at that point I feel like it had kind of made its shift into being more of a philosophy for secret societies to follow. And a lot of them, the leaders, used alchemy to their own advantage and did not want that information to leak out into the general public at the time, only because they knew that if the people found out what alchemy is and how you could actually use it to potentially not only just turn lead into gold, but alchemize your life and yourself, that the people would overthrow them, or the people would turn on them, or the people would use it to their benefit, and then the people that were in charge wouldn't have the upper hand anymore. So the clergymen at that time, like I said in the beginning of this video, had tortured people. They killed people for secretly dispersing this information throughout Europe at the time. There were also traces of alchemy founded in ancient India and Mesopotamia. But no matter where you look in the world at alchemy, the same message is made very clear. The people that were in search of their alchemical process to find the philosopher's stone or the elixir of life were looking for just that. A lot of the times they were looking for something that was of material gain, of material asset, something that would add to their value of life. But Carl Jung, born in 1875, had a different perspective on alchemy that I think will benefit those of us who are on our journey of self-discovery, are on our journey of finding our north node or our purpose here on this planet. His point of view was interesting and different as he did a deep dive into all of the ancient practices that I just talked about, referring to all of the different ones, including Taoism or Taoism, ancient Chinese practices, ancient Egyptian, Mesopotamian, Arabian, and European practices. He looked into the alchemical process of actually turning lead into gold, all while using his dreams and his inner guidance system to help him figure out the symbolism hidden behind alchemy. So in alchemy, there is so many different symbolisms. It is kind of similar to tarot cards. If you watch my channel, I offer a lot of different videos about tarot card readings that go deeper into your life or into a situation that you may have going on right now. And something that I find very similar with alchemy and tarot is the symbolism of the sun and the moon and the earth, the symbolism of the self, the symbolism of water as it is used, fire, earth, and air, all the elements. So Carl Jung really did, like I said, a deep dive into the symbolism of all of these ancient practices and all of these different ways of looking into alchemy. He found that through different archetypes, which are different personas, I guess you could say, of the human that make up the human, he saw these symbols as a manifestation of different parts of himself and our shared universal psyche or our collective unconsciousness. To give you all the different archetypes that I have personally found, but we're only going to be talking about a few of these. So the first archetype is the persona, the social mask, the person that we are in front of other people. The trickster or the crafty figure, anima or animus, the female or male within. The ego, the hero seeking its place in the world, the shadow representing the parts of ourselves that we are ashamed of, and the wise old man. But if we're speaking truthfully, all of these different archetypes must be integrated to be able to reach our magnum opus, or to be able to find the Philosopher's Stone, or to be able to reach immortality within our own selves. Carl Jung, before I go into the stages of alchemy, because I'm going to be explaining the stages, how they apply to you, how they apply to your life, and all that good stuff. But first, I wanted to explain a little bit about Carl Jung's perspective and who he was as a person in general. So Carl Jung was somebody, his residency was in Switzerland. Like I said, he was born in the 1800s, the mid to late 1800s, and he lived until maybe the early to mid 1900s. He has so many different articles and perspectives on the human psyche in general, the unconscious mind. He looked into spirituality, he looked into religion. Like, he was somebody who was a very knowledgeable man about the things that he researched. Like, he really went into the things that he learned about while he was on this planet. Some common terms also, before I get into the stages, some common terms that you may hear in alchemy is, like I've already said, the Philosopher's Stone, turning lead into gold, the elixir of life, immortality, the Holy Grail, the fountain of youth, things like that. And all of this, from Carl Jung's perspective, like I said, is symbolism for what is actually going on internally. And I think it was either Europe or China that they ended up separating the two alchemical processes, because they saw one as more scientific and they saw the other as more spiritual. So I guess it just depends on the way that you look at it, because of course, who wouldn't want to turn lead into gold? Are you kidding me? Like, bank bitch forever. You would never have to, feel me, do anything other than make lead into gold, because gold is worth so much. But in this perspective that I'm going to be giving to you guys, this is more based on the internal alchemical process that we go through when you decide that you're ready to take it. So the different stages of alchemy, there is black, white, yellow, and then there's red. Black represents death. We're gonna start off with that. That's how the alchemical process starts. It starts with death. So if you think about it in terms of lead to gold, you are taking the lead that you have and you are smushing it up, you're burning it, taking it apart, and you are basically purging the material that you have of everything that makes it the color that it is, or makes it worthless, I guess you could say. So when you're transferring this into like a philosophical way of thinking about it, Negretto, or black, the first stage, is seen as death within the self, and it doesn't mean that you have to die. And this is something that comes up in tarot a lot as well. Like I said, if you watch my videos, you're kind of hip to this lingo a little bit, but death in alchemy or in tarot or in spirituality is a symbol of growth, because you are killing an old part of yourself that no longer resonates, it no longer serves you, it no longer is feeding into what you truly desire yourself to be. This is all in preparation for the next phase. So incorporating this into your everyday life, if you were to start Like, let's say you were like, okay, well, maybe I want to try going through this alchemical process. I want to try transmutation of energy in my own self and in my own life. Then you would essentially cut off everything and everyone that brings you stress, causes you fear. You are going to be cleansing out not only your mind, but your body and your soul. So like mentally, you would want to cut off everything that does not serve you. And when I say it doesn't serve you, I mean it doesn't bring you happiness, it doesn't bring you stability, it doesn't bring you discipline, it doesn't allow you to grow and be who you truly desire to be. And like I said, this could be people, this could be situations, this could be habits in your everyday life. You're going to cut all that stuff out. For the body, you are going to want to cleanse your body of all the things, all the toxins that you eat, because let's be honest, guys, it doesn't matter what kind of stuff you buy, everything has stuff in it. Do you understand what I mean? So things like fasting, like only drinking water until a certain time of the day and then eating a really good, healthy, hearty meal that gives your body the nutrients that it genuinely needs. So things like vitamins or protein or iron would be great. And fasting for a few days until you feel like your body is genuinely clean of all of its toxins. If you smoke or if you drink, you're going to want to take a tolerance break from all of those things during this process and during these stages of the alchemical process. Because when I mean cleansing, I mean really truly cleansing your body. I think a lot of us like kind of run over the fact, just because of the way that we grew up, that what we put in our body we start to become. I'm going to be taking a big step with discipline and allowing yourself to take a step back from everything that you overconsume. This is all in preparation for the next stage of the process, which is white. And this is being able to merge the anima and the animus, which I had mentioned in one of the archetypes. And anima and animus stands for female and male. Anima is female, animus is male. And this is something all of us have within us. It doesn't matter what you have between your legs or what you identify as for your sexual orientation. It doesn't matter. Like all of us, if you are human, if you are living, if you are on this planet, all of us have a female and male energy within inside of us. And these are also represented by things like the sun and the moon, or black and white. And this also goes into Taoism with where you find the yin and the yang, the female and the male interacting with each other and balancing each other out. That is what this stage of the process is. It is being able to look at yourself internally and externally and be like, okay, I understand I have darker parts of myself. I understand I have lighter parts of myself, and I understand that I am all of these things mixed together, and I'm not ashamed of it anymore. We must see the opposite of ourselves within ourselves, because what is black is white, what is light is dark, what is masculine is feminine as well. You can't have one without having the other. It is inevitable. So to continue on with that process, once you are purified from everything, you are going to be able to sit with yourself and, like I said, understand the different parts of yourself that are being held inside of you. And sometimes, like when you are somebody who is more feminine, and when I say feminine, like I said, it doesn't have to do with being a boy or being a girl or being a they or a them. Like, it doesn't matter. If you are somebody who presents themselves as more feminine, which is like more, you're more, not to say soft, but like your presence is very subtle, but it makes an impact in a way that people don't always understand. Or you're somebody who handles things very delicately. Or if you are somebody who is more masculine, you really like to go out and get things done, you like to take action, you're very forceful in your nature, things like that, then you may benefit from being more of the other, of the opposite of what you are, and being able to integrate those together. And in regular, like the alchemical process of alchemy, like the chemistry part of alchemy, this stage is seen as the purification. The ashes of the blackness are balancing out to become pure rosa alba, or pure white. So what once was dark and nasty and black, which is represented by the shadow, is now being purified and turned into something that is pure, if that makes any sense. It leads us into the next stage, which is yellow. Citrinatas. I think that's how you say it. If I butcher any of these, don't hate me. And stage 3, the yellow stage, is called the dawning of consciousness or the dawning of light. This is when, in the alchemical process, the white becomes yellow. It gives, like, this part of the process gives the white that was just purified, burned to ashes and purified into something white. It gives it color, it gives it vibrance, it gives it life. So translating that into the philosophical way, or being able to integrate that within your own life, you must meet the wise old man within yourself to be able to guide you to where you want to go. So the wise old man archetype is like, it's kind of the part of you that is unseen, but it understands everything that's going on. It understands the process that you're going through. It understands where you want to go. It understands that you really, like, if you are really determined to do something and get somewhere and make an impact on this world, this part of the process, meeting your own wise old man, will essentially lead you to your divinity, to your destiny, to your philosopher's stone. Okay. And the way you would do that is, I always recommend meditation on my channel. But I know meditation doesn't work for everybody, but this is really a way where you get to quiet your mind. You get to see who you really are, so you don't have to hide that anymore. Because with the first stage of understanding your shadow and killing all the parts of yourself that don't accept your shadow and your dark energy that you may have within yourself, because all of us have it. If you haven't seen the demiurge video I have on my channel, I would recommend watching that, because that talks somewhat about your shadow and how every single human has a little bit of a shadow inside of them, etc. Like, we are our own demons, essentially. I'll just leave it at that. But after killing all those parts of yourself that don't accept who you are now, like I said, you're adding color, you're adding vibrance, you're adding, like, okay, I understand what I am and who I am, but I also understand why I'm here and what I'm here to do and how I'm going to implement that. I always recommend meditation and being able to do this on a day-to-day basis, where you are checking in with yourself, you're checking in with your spirit, your mind, and your body to more fully understand the journey that you're on. Because I feel like some of us, we're kind of just in the wind all the time, like, oh, I'm gonna go here and do this, oh, I'm gonna go here and do this, oh yeah, I like doing this, but I don't know where it'll take me. But this process is going to allow you to be more sure of the steps you're taking moving forward. And this leads on to our fourth and final stage, Rubeo, or red, which in the alchemical process is actually being able to turn lead into gold. It is the success of alchemy. Okay, it's the thing that everybody is craving and is looking for. And I find the Rubeo stage, similar to I just spaced. I find this stage similar to finding nirvana. It is the point where, after sacrificing yourself and purifying yourself and understanding your divinity, you come to this realization and find your magnum opus, or your philosopher's stone, or your elixir to life. You come to this awareness within yourself, almost, that your energy will never fade out and your energy will never die. And it's a very, very comforting feeling. So at that point, you have turned your darkness into light. You have transmuted the energy that may have been thrown at you, or the energy that you may have picked up over time, into something that will genuinely propel you in the direction that you want to go in your life. And this is, in my personal experience, I always say this on my channel as well, is that nothing ever happens overnight. You're never going to be granted anything. This takes discipline, and this takes, like, serious decision making, where you understand not only the process of alchemy, but how it is implied in your everyday life. As I'm sitting here editing this video, I noticed that I didn't say something that I really, really want to say to you guys. This process of alchemy, and if you're doing it for your spirit and your soul, and you're trying to find the gold within yourself, and you're trying to find your philosopher's stone, this is not something that is going to just happen one time and then everything is going to fall into place for you. It could for some people, but a majority of us, it doesn't work that way. You are going to continually go through this process until you have basically died. This is something that goes on ever into infinity. And I want you to think about it like this: as you are chipping away these pieces of yourself that no longer resonate with you in negredo, the more gold you have made throughout this alchemy process. And when I say gold, I mean you reaching parts of you at its fullest, at your fullest potential. When the more you do that, the more your soul evolves. So during the alchemy process, right, you are turning something that is of no meaning or has little meaning, or negredo, which is the broken down parts of yourself, your shadow, the parts of you that died. The more that you kill these old parts of you, and this is why I say that this is something that's never going to stop until essentially we die and we are just energy, we are just back to source, because there's always a past. If you're living there, you always have a past. Okay, so the more you chip away at those pieces that no longer fulfill you and turn them into gold, the more gold that you have, the more fulfilled your spirit will be, the more fulfilled your soul will be. And let's be real, nobody wants to die feeling like they're unfulfilled, or like they came on this planet for no reasons. And it doesn't really matter how old you are, like you can always start this process. You know what I mean? I hope this resonates with you guys. Okay, that's it. That's all I gotta say. Okay, so this is gonna be a little story time and then I'm done. When I first started learning about transmutation and alchemy, which was maybe 2021, I want to say 2021, 2022 was the time where I was really learning about transmutation and alchemy at that point in my journey. And I used to get things that were thrown at me spiritually, like spiritual attacks and people doing nasty things behind my back and whatever. But that is what taught me, like out of that darkness that people were throwing at me, I genuinely learned how to, not only did I build my backbone, but I learned how to transmute the energy that they were throwing at me into something that I could use as fuel to propel me on my journey through the days that went by. And this is exactly how I did it. So like I said, I can't cover everything in this video, my lovelies, okay? I covered as much as I possibly can, and I covered the things that I thought were most important when I first started learning alchemy that I wish I didn't have to search so hard for. So hopefully this video brought you guys some clarity or granted you some inspiration to start looking more into alchemy and finding your own philosopher's stone so that you too can reach immortality and find your divine destiny. Okay, my lovely, so that is all that I have in this video. I love you so much. I will see you guys on the next one. Bye.